Faster. With each day that goes by, the numbers increase.
As the long road to recovery continues, we know now that more than 20,000 homes were damaged with a repair cost of more than $1 billion. And tonight we've learned that 21 deaths are now attributed to the flood.
And as we first reported today at 5 o'clock, the reported number of deaths inside Houston hospitals during this flood may soon rise. For the latest on this developing story, we go back now to 13 undercover investigator Wayne Dolcefino, who is live now in the medical center. Wayne?
Yeah, Sharon, Dave, good evening. Growing questions tonight about what may have happened behind me at Herman Hospital during the height of the storm when the power went out. The big question, just how many patients may have died when the power was out. Herman Hospital officials have been promising us all day, because we've been asking for 2 days, promising all day they would release a statement on this very subject. They reneged on that promise shortly before 5 o'clock this afternoon, but here is what we know tonight. They have confirmed that 2 patients in the burn center did die while the power was out, although hospital officials were quick to point out those deaths were not related to the power being out. When we started questioning, were they on life support? Was there any equipment that might have been cut off during the power outages that could have affected those patients' ability to survive? They would not answer. But tonight our focus is also shifting to the neonatal intensive care unit, with the premature babies just hours old were inside that hospital when the power went out. We are told it was a chaotic scene. Nurses frantically working, trying to manually provide oxygen to those babies, because when the power went out, so did the ventilators. How many of those babies may have died tonight? The question we've been asking for 2 days at Herman Hospital. They have not given us answers, but they have promised a news conference tomorrow to explain all the deaths that occurred during the power outage that happened here during the height of the storm Friday night. I want to put a number up on the screen now, because if you have information, we're at the hospital during the power outages, we would like to hear more from you. You can call our tip number, 713-669-1313. As we find out more about these deaths at the hospital, it will likely increase the questions already being asked at the medical center about the backup generators. Why were they in the basement, especially in a medical center that is so close to a bayou, especially in a city that so easily floods? Late this afternoon, Harris County Judge Robert Eccles apparently admonished hospitals in the medical center for not moving their generators farther up in their buildings. These are questions we'll continue to explore in the coming days. Again, Herman Hospital has promised a news conference tomorrow to explain who died here, when they died, and what effect the power outages may have had on the deaths that occurred here. We're live outside Herman Hospital. Wayne Dolcefino, 13 Undercover.
Many of the hospitals are still totaling up the damage to their buildings and equipment. Eyewitness News reporter Christy Myers is here now with a closer look at one of those hospitals. Christy?
Dave, our news cameras got the first look and made the first entry into Methodist Hospital's flooded basement, a place where even employees have yet to see. It was surreal to walk in galoshes through the mud and water in areas before where we have witnessed patients being treated.
When the water opened up, it just rushed through and toppled everything. This is the kitchen where we prepare food for patients.
But Methodist CEO Peter Butler says the kitchen is the least of their worries. In the Methodist kitchen, the water came up to about 7 feet deep, but it flooded the floor below for a total of 40 feet of water in the hospital. All this was underwater, 182,000 square feet, almost a city block of underground basement, and it housed some valuable medical equipment. Methodist lost 4 MRI machines, worth about $2 million each. Dirty water that smelled like a sewer covering everything. The hospital also lost 2 linear accelerators used for cancer radiation treatments, and 4 nuclear medicine cameras were flooded. I asked Butler if he was worried about radioactive contamination.
Of course, we have our environmental people, infectious disease, not only meeting here, but with other Texas Medical Center institutions. So all of us are very conscious of making sure that we do everything we need to do.
We weren't allowed to shoot patient floors, which are still on generator power with no running water. But the hospital is discharged from 650 down to 196 patients today.
It has been horrible. We've had no power, we've had no water to use the bathrooms, we've had no AC. She hasn't had any kind of food. They've had to vendor food in. It's been miserable.
Methodist is still on generator power in 2 buildings. A 3rd building is partially without power. Butler says he has no idea yet what the total losses will be. He does expect to get power and water back Thursday. After that, they are hoping to start up elective surgeries again and see patients as usual beginning next Monday. But that's all in flux. That's depending if they can get the power and water back.
Okay, thank you, Christy.
Blood drives are underway to rebuild the supply during this time of disaster. Just a small turnout today for one blood drive in the medical center. The supply has not been built over the past week now. The weekend disaster canceled many drives that would have collected hundreds of units of blood. So the call is out to all eligible donors to give if they can in the next 2 or 3 weeks. For a list of locations where you can donate blood, log on to our website at abc13.com.
State and federal leaders are hoping to get more funding for flood-ravaged areas. Today, Congressman Gene Green took a tour of the Sheldon School District Administration Building and C.E. King High School. He took note of the damage and says it's not just individual victims that need assistance, but our institutions as well.
Not only as individuals do our constituents have losses, but our institutions, our school districts here at Sheldon, North Forest, our school districts have lost, so we're going to work on the federal level through the state of Texas to see what we can do also to access funding resources.
And the governor's wife visited a Red Cross shelter, says she is amazed at the outpouring of sympathy. If you need assistance, you can call the Red Cross at 1-877-725-0400. If you'd like to make a donation, that number is 1-800-HELP-NOW. The Red Cross says 10 shelters remain open today, and more than 2,200 flood victims are still living in them. They say they'll remain open as long as the victims need a place to stay.
The response to the relief effort is making for long lines and longer waits, and so short fuses for those already in a shaky state. Eyewitness News reporter Chris Adams live now at a Southeast Houston multi-service center with a look at just how tough the process can get. Chris?
Well, Cheryl, they were supposed to close this center at 6, but just take a look around. You can see there's still plenty of activity. They say they are going to stay here until all of these people get help. Now, you may remember last hour we told you about how this Red Cross Service Center was swamped and had to turn some flood victims away. Well, many people are getting help here. Here's one woman's story.
The floodwaters have finally receded now, but the damage done to the homes and the lives of people like Nora Flores remains.
It caved in the floors, it destroyed our restroom, it destroyed our furniture, our waterbed was floating, all of our appliances, everything.
So this mother of 2, who is 1 month pregnant, is now number 28 in line at this emergency Red Cross Service Center. She's been here since 6 this morning.
And listening for your name and number. It's very important for you.
After nearly 8 hours, her number is finally called.
Well, it's kind of frustrating, but you have no choice. It's for your family, and, the better for us, possible what they can help us.
The interview process itself is fairly straightforward. Mostly there are questions about the damages or lost income she and family members have suffered. There are papers to sign and stores to select where she can pick up food, clothing, and other supplies.
We use vouchers to provide our services.
And they would get that voucher before leaving?
Yes.
Okay. How long does the process take?
About 30 to 40 minutes, depending on the family.
A half hour after she sits down, Nora Flores is leaving with her vouchers and perhaps a little bit of hope.
They've given me clothing, shoes, and food for my children and me, so yeah, that's good.
You feel a little better now?
Well, yeah, of course. I mean, compared to having nothing to a little bit, yeah, it makes us feel better.
We are back live now. The Red Cross Service Center here in Sunnyside will be open again tomorrow from 8 a.m. until 6 p.m. Reporting live, Chris Adams, 13 Eyewitness News.
Relief funds are available from the Federal Emergency Management Agency, but you have to qualify, and you may have to wait. To find out if you qualify, call FEMA at 1-800-462-9029, and for the hearing impaired, 1-800-462-7585. We are told that the best times to call are between 7 a.m. and 10 a.m., and then again after 2 p.m.
When the floodwater receded, it left dangerous debris on some streets, including a barrel that floated into a northeast Houston neighborhood. Tests will now be conducted on the mysterious and smelly liquid found inside. Kenneth Holloway was exposed to the unknown chemical, which left him with a burning sensation on his arm. A hazardous materials unit came in, but field tests failed to identify the drum's contents.
When I picked the drum up, the liquid flashed on both inside my arms right here. They're burning right now. I've been washed up while I go, but still got burns on both sides.
If it is toxic and it absorbs through the skin, then it can deteriorate organs, bone, tissue, cause cancer later on.
We are told it will take several days before test results on that liquid will be available. If you've been exposed to dirty flood water, you can get a tetanus shot at a mobile unit at the Hunter Wood subdivision located at the intersection of Barnesworth and Fox Hunter Streets tomorrow from 8:30 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. The Settigist Clinic, located at 9102 North Wayside, will be open Wednesday through Thursday from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m.
The road to recovery involves many big problems in the always busy downtown Houston, and you thought parking was tough before. Eyewitness News reporter Patrick Nolan is live downtown now. Patrick?
Well, they are making some progress. They've been able to completely drain some of the underground parking garages, which is good because then they can pull the hoses like this red one used in those projects and devote them to flushing out the water in the ones that are still flooded. With generators providing the power, cleanup crews continue to drain the water, turn on the lights, and hook up the phones one building at a time. It is not a pretty picture.
This is the basement. This is our phone terminals. See how they get corroded?
Do you even have enough equipment to replace all this?
That's what they were trying to evaluate right now.
Though a bunch of businesses, big and small, remain closed for repairs, community leaders tried to put the best face on the situation as they toured with FEMA representatives.
Well, one thing I've seen is the can-do attitude of the downtown community working together.
What's so encouraging is while we watch recovery operations behind me across the street, we watch construction over here as we keep moving forward.
Since underground parking garages are still either flooded or clogged with stalled cars, above-ground parking is at even more of a premium than usual.
Well, it's quite a mess. People are having to take shuttles. Many people are parking at Enron Field. I even thought about bringing my bicycle, which would have been a lot easier.
Nothing will be easy about this cleanup, but don't expect that to dampen the spirits of people like Richard Castle, who keeps downtown clean even when it's not flooded.
A little bit more work, you know, there's a little bit more trash out here, and you got to be careful of the water and stuff like that, but it's keeping us busy.
It is keeping a lot of people busy here as we give you another live look at Public Works crews pulling out this hose here. One more thing to keep in mind, because of the situation, a lot more people are going to be walking downtown because they're parking farther away, and you'll want to keep an eye out for these open drainage holes here. Now, obviously, this one's hard to miss. You got a barricade here, you got a bright orange cone, and you can hear the water from several yards away, but some of these have dried up, as we mentioned. They pulled the hoses out, but not put these covers back on, so you'll want to be careful, and people are moving the barricades and cones because they don't want to walk through the water. Things are getting a little bit sloppy, so we want folks to be as cautious as possible when walking on these downtown streets. Reporting live, Patrick Nolan, 13 Eyewitness News.
And later on Eyewitness News, you'll see an example of why it can be dangerous to drive your car after it's been flooded, even if it does run.
Also ahead, a new look driver's license on the way to show exactly which Texans are under 21.
And if the city of Houston has no money in its rainy day fund, how will it pay for all the damage done? That story's next.
A tornado hunter display shows that those thunderstorms, which prompted urban and small stream flood advisories about an hour ago, are beginning to weaken substantially. The big weather story for the next couple of days will be heat. I'll let you know all about it coming up in weather.
You're watching ABC 13, Houston's news leader. Live with Dave Ward, Shara Fryer, Marvin Zindler, Ed Brandon, and Bob Allen. This is 13 Eyewitness News, Houston's news leader.
Tell the kids it's your turn to choose the restaurant. What'll they do? Ground you?
My, black-eyed peas.
We are the pool party people here on the block. Round up the neighbors and everybody comes over. We probably had 12 or 15 kids in the pool. As much use as the pool gets. The quality of the water is the most important thing. We really need to have affordable and reliable chemicals here. With socket, the paste, and the HTH, as good as they are, it's really very easy to maintain your own pool. But Walmart has a great selection of pool chemicals, so it's really a case where I do save a lot of money. The people at Walmart do know their stuff. You come home after a hard day at work, there's nothing more refreshing than just cooling off.
This Father's Day, Verizon Wireless makes it easy to stay in touch with Dad wherever he goes. Right now, get him a great deal on a Kyocera phone, only $39.99. Plus, he'll enjoy 2,000 weekend airtime minutes a month, free for life. So this Father's Day, stop by a Verizon Wireless communication store or call 1-800-2-JOIN-IN. Verizon Wireless. Join in.
They haven't seen it yet. They're bound to say something.
You know them. Never at a loss for words.
The Chevy Silverado two-wheel drive half-ton regular cab V6 has more standard torque than a comparable Ford F-150 or Dodge Ram 1500. Silverado, the truck from Chevy.
Act like they've never seen a truck before.
The GMAC Smart Buy on a 2001 Silverado. Residency restrictions apply. Call for Smart Buy details.
Not only can we handle more of these stains than this leading powder, Whisk tablets can handle more grass stains, too. Whisk tablets, anyone?
Come in for a good, healthy bite, where the drinks have one, too.
My, black-eyed peas.
Houston, our hearts go out to you. Through the devastation and damage and the flood of a lifetime, your story of courage inspired us. At Channel 13, sometimes our work takes us further than reporting news. We're there to help when our neighbors are in need.
Thanks to you, God, and Channel 13 News.
To all of you who experienced loss and volunteered to help, our commitment and our thoughts are with you. 13 Eyewitness News, Houston's news leader. If you see breaking news, call the 13 Eyewitness News tip line at 713-669-1313. 13 Eyewitness News, Houston's news leader.
And now, how will the city of Houston pay for all this damage and the cleanup on the road to recovery?
It won't come from the city's rainy day fund. Eyewitness News reporter Tom Abrams joins us now to explain why.
Sure, and Dave, we reported months ago that City Council wanted a rainy day fund. It would set aside money for disasters like the one we find ourselves in now. We also told you, because of other expenses, that the city had no money in that fund, and it still doesn't.
After this past weekend, you can see that we really need to not only establish the rainy day fund, but to continue to fund it.
Houston is still hurting. It'll cost millions to put the city whole again. And City Council knows it has the job of making that happen.
You know, we're responsible for the public welfare and safety of people, and we have to have a contingency available for something just like this.
It was last year that City Council first decided it wanted a rainy day fund. By the end of this year, $5 million should be in it. But that's not going to happen. As we told you months ago, there's not a dime in that fund.
And so it's just good to have that on hand, just like, you know, any normal homeowner would have a pot of money in savings as well. This is our form of savings.
Without the fund, the city has to borrow the money from other places. And while insurance and federal money will cover more than 75% of the costs, it'll still be millions. This next year, City Council has amended the budget to allow for the fund, and Councilman Mark Ellis is sure this time it'll have support.
With the recent tragedy that we've had around the city, I think everybody's going to be on board with this rainy day fund.
The fund would not solve everything. It's not a perfect solution for recovery, but it will help next time Houston is victimized.
And I wish we'd done it in the past and a lot earlier. The issue now is getting through this crisis and making sure we're prepared for anything like this in the future or worse.
City Council meets tomorrow and again at a special meeting on Friday to talk about the flood damage and its costs. You can imagine that rainy day fund will be an integral part of some of those discussions. Reporting live, Tom Abrams, 13 Eyewitness News.
And some few thunder boomers around the area today.
Yeah, we had to jump to the ready once again. David, tell us just how serious those thunderstorms were.
Well, they were quite serious for just a little while. They did produce some street flooding on NASA Road 1 and around the Friendswood area. But look at live Super Doppler 13 radar now. Not any thunderstorm activity showing up. We can zoom into the areas that saw the thunderstorm activity earlier this afternoon. And this is all that's left, just a couple of sprinkles right around Pearland, but a little while ago around Clear Lake and Webster, a lot of heavy rain. Now those thunderstorms are now gone. Now officially, an urban and small stream flood advisory is still in effect until 7 o'clock this evening for extreme southern parts of Harris County. But as you can see, those thunderstorms are pretty much now gone. A couple more sprinkles to the north and to the west of Fresno at this time. But again, all of the thunderstorms that were in this area have now dissipated. Let's go to temperatures for today. The rest of us didn't see the rain. We saw the heat. Look at this. 91 degrees at Hobby today, 93 at Bush, 92 Conroe, 92 at Huntsville, and it made it to 94 degrees today in College Station. So it was hot and it was very humid at times. Our dew point temperatures were in the upper 70s across parts of the area. That gave us heat indices over 100 degrees. So summer is about to start. It feels like it's already here. Right now at Bush, it's 88 degrees, 86 at Hobby, 88 at Tomball, 91 degrees the current temperature at Huntsville. Further south and west, it's 86 at Palacios, still 95 degrees at Austin. At one point today was 98 degrees there. Radar picture shows that most of the state of Texas not seeing any rain. There are those little showers that developed right on the west side of Galveston Bay right there. That will continue to happen for the next several days. The sea breeze front will continue to be active, so about a 10% chance of rain, and the best chances will be right along the Gulf Coast over the next several days. Our national satellite picture shows, and we hate to keep looking and dwelling on the system, but here it is sitting over the southeast United States. I won't even mention the name of it, but it is still producing a lot of heavy rain and severe weather. Tornado watch is in effect for Georgia and parts of South Carolina, but again, the system moving away from us. Several more systems around the country producing severe weather. None of those will be in our neck of the woods anytime soon, so it's going to be continue to be hot and humid across the area. We have had a south wind today pumping in a lot of moisture. That wind will be a little higher coming up for tomorrow, so it'll increase the moisture levels. Also, with the wind blowing, though, temperatures should be a couple of degrees cooler, but the net effect, it will still be hot and humid coming up for tomorrow. Eventually, this system, this cold front out to the west of us, will be approaching us later on in the week. Until that happens, not much in the way of a chance of rain. Gulf of Mexico, last week at this time, a big blob of clouds was clobbering the southeast Texas coast with a lot of heavy rain and wind. This week, you can see just a couple of clouds on the tail end of that same system. But again, none of those showers and thunderstorms are coming in our way. And for the most part, we're seeing a quiet picture. Low today, 92 degrees. High this afternoon, 93. No rain at Bush. Right now, Bush is 88 degrees, 87 KTRK, 86 at Hobby. Dew point temperature 75 now. Southeast wind at 14. Pressure falling from 29.75 inches. Here's the 5-day forecast. 90s in the forecast for the next several days. Chances for rain going up just a little bit at the end of the week because of the cold front that will approach us, but it will not move through. So it does appear we're going to have hot, humid weather with isolated chances for thunderstorms, and most of those will be of the sea breeze variety.
Okay.
Thanks, David.
Thanks, David.
Well, disasters like this widespread flood can bring out the best and the worst in people.
Coming up on Eyewitness News, after their homes were flooded, some families now have to deal with thieves looting their stuff right out of their yards.
But when we come back, the good news. One company that saw families in need and responded with free furniture.
The weather segment is brought to you in part by Bridgestone.
You know Bridgestone sells tires for cars like this, and this, and this. But now we're having a sale on tires for cars like this, and this. Introducing the Insignia SL, a new Bridgestone tire for cars like yours. On sale now during the Insignia sale. You can even take them for a free 30-day test spin. The distinction is Bridgestone, so see your participating Bridgestone or Firestone retailer.
If you're happy and you know it.
Si voto contento.
Lo sabes. If you're happy and you know it, you want to show it.
Alegría.
In Aruba, you'll hear happy in 4 different languages and feel it in 1,000 different ways.
Here's to letting the wind comb your hair once in a while. A little bit of freedom goes a long way. Crystal Light. Now the 5 fruit flavors you love are in a bottle and just 5 calories. Available in your grocer's juice aisle.
Planning ahead? Get your 5-day forecast anytime with ABC13.com. Going out? Check the weather conditions instantly, including live Super Doppler 13. Your weather on the web, ABC13.com.
Introducing the all-new Civic from Honda.
Hey, guys! Can you help us? We need directions. Hey, guys! Can you roll down the window?
It comes with an extraordinarily well-insulated cabin.
Why is it so hard to meet chicks anyway?
The window! Hey!
I do not know.
You wait!
The Civic. Amazing, but true.
It's coming! Make it a Father's Day he'll never forget at Bass Pro Shops Outdoor World, the ultimate Father's Day store. We've got a boatload of gift ideas that are sure to make old Dad happy. Or take the hint and turn him loose with a Bass Pro Shops gift certificate, the ultimate Father's Day gift. And with our low price guarantee and outdoor awards, you get even more outdoors for your money at Bass Pro Shops Outdoor World. I-10 and Pin Oak Road at Katy Mills.
While thousands of Houston area families work hard to get their lives back to normal, there are people out there willing to help.
Eyewitness News reporter Cynthia Cisneros brings us the story of one company that saw families in desperate need and is really reaching out to help.
We lost everything.
It is an act of kindness Mrs. Josefa Hernandez was not prepared for. A house full of new furniture, all free. Did you think that people in Houston were so generous?
Yes. Yes. I just can't explain myself. I've been so sick and I don't know what to do no more.
Eyewitness News first showed you the Hernandez family yesterday. Mrs. Hernandez's husband recently died. All her children have moved out. Her house is all she has left, and she wants to stay. Now, thanks to the generosity of Landmark Furniture, she can.
We're watching television, and we saw on Channel 13 there was a lot of people that were having really dire straits. They were having a hard time, big problems. Everything they had was gone, so we couldn't let that go.
Landmark Furniture was also touched by our broadcast of the Rios family, who also lost everything.
Furniture is something that you work for, and it's hard-earned, work that you put into your things that you have in your house, and then basically that's what my dad did. Worked hard all his life for all this, and it's really nice that people are generosity. It's just the heart, from the heart.
The free furniture won't solve all their flooding problems, but it is a heartfelt gift these families will remember and appreciate for a lifetime. Cynthia Cisneros, 13 Eyewitness News.
Thousands of Houston area families have their belongings piled up out at the curb to dry out after the flooding.
Still ahead here on Eyewitness News, the problem those folks may not have expected, looters taking off with whatever they can grab.
I'm the 13 consumer investigator Nydia Hahn. Just because you can drive your car today doesn't mean it won't suffer the effects of flood damage tomorrow. I'll explain.
Many cars were towed away, and many owners are finding out there's something fishy about it. When we come back, Action 13's Marvin Zindler gets to the bottom of a very expensive problem.
For Father's Day, we're #1. Shop at Ross is lots of fun. Shop at Ross. Score a big, make that day. Ross has gifts for work or play. Shop shopping, you're shopping at Ross. Go to Ross. Go, go, go. Everything is priced so low. Shopping at Ross.
Save up to 65% compared to department stores every day.
Dad's the best. Give a cheer. All the best friends are here. There's always something new when you're shopping at Ross.
Attention, everyone. This is new, and it's exciting. Buffalo-style nuggets.
Introducing Popeye's new Buffalo-style nuggets. It's the buffalo wing flavor you crave, packed into all white meat, crispy, crunchy nuggets. New Buffalo-style nuggets are only $2.49.
What part of the buffalo does a nugget come from?
Or get an 11-piece box of Popeye's tender Cajun chicken, spicy on mild, for only $7.99.
Summer savings days are here at your Texas Ford dealer. So what's our newest summer attraction? The all-new 2002 Ford Explorer. Redesigned with an independent rear suspension for an exceptionally smooth ride. Wider with an expansive interior and new third-row seating. And an exciting new style Texans are certain to find most attractive. Now, get the all-new 2002 Explorer with low introductory financing. So get over to your Texas Ford dealer today because
Summer savings days are here.
Does
Jackson Burns calling. Listen, I'd like you to do a story for my little network. I like the way you write, Alice. It's so sharp I could lather up and shave with it.
Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
The camera is God. It demands a performance.
Another execution? That isn't news. If we sink low enough to broadcast it, that'll be news.
Welcome to The Beast.
Premiering Wednesday, 10/9 Central on ABC. The Beast. Viewer discretion advised.
I'm waiting for my blind date. Please, just let him be different. Someone who's shy and sensitive. Someone who's into Mozart. Somebody who's not afraid to pick up flowers. Who has inner beauty. I mean, forget the looks.
The luxurious home from GS. It's hot.
I gotta go.
See your Houston area Lexus dealer.
Could what happened to a Channel 13 news vehicle have happened to your car?
Well, Action 13's Marvin Zindler is here to explain. Marvin?
Well, last night when I came off my vacation, I saw a story one of our reporters did. And what happened didn't sound right to me. So I took that story to Houston Police Chief. You've seen the tow trucks pull vehicles after vehicles from the streets after the flood. We're not sure how many vehicles were towed away, perhaps thousands. Even one of our Channel 13 news vehicles was towed away, while reporter Patrick Nolan was reporting a story on the flood.
And when our own news vehicle, a brand new Ford Expedition, was apparently towed away from this spot right next to our live truck.
Now, the Channel 13's news vehicle was unmarked. It did not have any Channel 13 identification on the side. It looked just like anyone's vehicle, your vehicle. In fact, it could have been your car that was picked up. Remember, it was parked in front of a marked Channel 13's live truck. Why wasn't that truck towed? Was it because it was an identifiable television vehicle? When we finally found the vehicle in a storage lot, we asked for the police report. The report says the truck was flood damaged. Look again. It was high and dry. I showed the report to Houston Police Chief Clarence Bradford, who had seen Patrick Nolan's news report.
I think there's video that's going to pretty much substantiate this vehicle did not have flood damage. That being the case, we need an investigation, because even if the vehicle were to have flood damage, there's no reason why a police officer should authorize a tow simply because it has flood damage. The officer should remove the vehicle or authorize the vehicle to be removed if it is creating a public safety hazard, blocking traffic, blocking a moving lane, creating some type of hazardous situation. I'm highly suspect of what you put in front of me, Marvin, and disappointed. This is a case that warrants investigation. On its face, it doesn't pass the smell test, but we need an investigation.
Well, when Chief Bradford said the police report didn't pass the smell test, that's why I took the report to him. I liked the way the chief was up front and didn't make a lot of excuses. I feel sure that I will receive a lot of complaints from folks whose cars were towed without cause. And I can understand why many cars were towed from the middle of the freeway. Record drivers are really your friend when you need them. But then again, there are record drivers, and then there are record drivers. Marvin Zindler, Eyewitness News.
Okay, very good. Welcome back, Marvin.
Thanks, Marvin.
Well, if your car hasn't shown any problems after the round of floods, you may be feeling a bit lucky.
But don't take a sigh of relief yet. There could still be problems lurking under the hood. Eyewitness News consumer investigator Nydia Hahn is joining us live now to tell us what we should all be looking for. Nydia?
Here's the deal, Shara. This story has just become very personal. I was going to use my own car as a backdrop for this live shot. As you know, this is not my car. The reason is I can't start it. Apparently, it took a couple days for the water to seep into the vulnerable components of my own vehicle. And I'm not the only person in this situation. So is Robert Shaw.
If my wife had been driving this car this morning, she'd probably be dead.
Robert Shaw feels lucky. His arm is the only casualty from his airbag deploying on his drive to work this morning.
I was driving like this when it just blew up. It's like a shotgun going off in the car, and smoke fills up the whole car.
Robert's car was one of many that got flooded by Allison.
It was up to at least right here on the hood, and it gave me a little problem starting, but it did finally start up, so Figured I was going to be okay, you know, and...
That's what many drivers are likely to think. But car experts like John Potus say that assumption could be dangerous.
Well, there's a possibility that water got somewhere in the circuit or on the airbag module, perhaps. A lot of times you can't tell exactly what the water has affected until you get into it and see.
This is the carpet and padding of this Mazda. You can see it needs to be removed in order for technicians to see the vulnerable components of your car.
The water will come up and get into the onboard computer, and also you can see the wiring that goes into it. That can cause a lot of damage. Back in the early 90s when we had floods in Houston, we had experiences where cars would come in a month or two after the flood with water-related damage.
So it's important you get your car checked out if you drove it through high water. Your technician should at least change the oil in your car and service your transmission. A mechanic should also replace your onboard computer if it got wet.
There's probably people out there driving right now unsafely.
And take it from Robert. Better safe than sorry.
If your car does need to get serviced, call your insurance agent. If you have full or comprehensive insurance, you're covered. I'm Nydia Han, 13 Eyewitness News.
One of Houston's economic mainstays, the Ship Channel Industrial Complex, is also trying to recover from last weekend's floods. Cleanup is underway for refineries, while state agencies look for signs of industrial pollution on the Ship Channel. And Deborah Wrigley reports.
This is a picture of an industrial flood. The Houston Ship Channel clogged with debris. Docks destroyed, flood marks still lining the banks. Days after the rain, barges are still beached on land, but all this may not be the worst of it. A special state environmental strike force is now on the channel. Contractors clothed in airtight suits. Crews now plucking storage barrels from the water. Some are marked, others are not. And those barrels are the one about which state investigators are concerned.
Well, we're worried they may have some hazardous material in them that may release to the environment, or someone may get exposed to them, or they may be partially submerged and someone's prop may hit them.
So far, 19 barrels washed away during the height of the flood have been recovered, not only in the Ship Channel, but the bayous that empty into it. And there's more.
There's oil that is spilled, there's chemicals that are spilled, and we're assessing, where those things have happened and trying to clean them up as we find them.
Normally, flooding cleanses the Ship Channel. This time, though, it did not. Deborah Wrigley, 13 Eyewitness News.
Many concerns for those hit by the floodwaters. Unfortunately, one of those has become looters. Eyewitness News reporter Cynthia Cisneros joining us live now from the east side, where some have fallen victim to the thieves. Cynthia?
And neighbors here say they aren't going to take it anymore, telling looters to keep away and leave. And now some neighbors say they're willing to take it a step further.
Those vultures, I mean, we're not having a garage sale, and this is not heavy trash. This is stuff that we worked for 35 years and paid for it. And I know there's poor people, and compared to some, we're millionaires, but let us get over our grief first, and then they can have just whatever they want. If 4 or 5 days ago, that was my bed, that was my sofa. And now, I mean, we have each other. That's all that matters, and that's all I have to keep saying. That's all that matters. But it just makes me mad. They're like vultures on dead animals, or what, preying on us.
She can't believe the greed of thieves who scavenge and steal belongings that took these neighbors a lifetime to accumulate. Now signs have popped up everywhere, warning looters to keep out. Others are taking a more serious approach.
It's bad enough that we got it, that we lost everything. It doesn't need that to be that bad that people are coming taking our stuff.
Calls to police have been fused, and so many don't have phone service. But since our broadcast yesterday of the looting problem, Houston police, as well as Precinct 2 constable deputies, are on constant patrol.
It's people's livelihood. People worked a long time for all this stuff here. So it's, everybody's in a bad situation to begin with, and we're not going to try to let people make it worse for them.
If you don't live here, leave. The message to looters is clear. Also beware that the police are now on patrol here constantly, day and night. Reporting live from East Houston, Cynthia Cisneros, 13 Eyewitness News.
Those who need help rebuilding their lives or repairing their homes can immediately start the process of getting help from FEMA. Just call one of these following numbers. Main number for disaster victims, 1-800-462-9029. Those with hearing impaired